look who we have here. Look at this. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister. And it is my honor and privilege to welcome you here this morning. You have come on a very special day, if you know it or not. Today, we are celebrating 45 years in this building. And probably around 50 years in this community. So sit back. We have a wonderful program created for you. Afterwards, we're going to roll right into our celebration. I have a few words I'm going to say. We have a special guest speaker, and then we have about a 10-minute, 11-minute iMovie with pictures from the last 45 years put together. So you're gonna want to see this. This is incredible. But we're going to start with what we start every Sunday morning with, which is our vision mission statement that we recite together, which says, "We are open, loving community, dedicated to evolving consciousness through teaching spiritual principles." A lot of places that you could be on Sunday morning, and you found yourself here. This is the place to be. You made it. Sit back, relax, and I'm going to now hand it over to, let's see, what are we doing next? Chip and Bucky will lead us as we sing "We Are One." Please stand, hold hands, and we'll sing "We Are One" together.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Jamaica Wallace, and I am your board president. I have just a few announcements for everyone before we get started. Everyone can hear me okay? Well, first, yes, what a very special day. Isn't this a wonderful, our decorations? I want to give a very special thank you to Chris, Reverend Steve, Bucky, Shirley, and Paula, who have all put in such wonderful work. So like Reverend Steve said, be sure to stay directly after the service. We're going to go right into a little celebration. We're going to share some of the history. We have a wonderful little iMovie to share, and then we're going to have some refreshments afterwards. Okay, next, Sunday, April the 2nd is going to be our new members orientation. We have so many new members, you guys. We set our intention at the end of last year as a manifestation to get new members, and we have done it, yay! So we're going to have a new member orientation. So if you are a new member or you're an existing member who would like a refresher, come and join us for this orientation. We will have copies of our bylaws available along with member responsibility and privilege information, and we'll also be available to answer any questions that you may have. If you are not a member and would like to become a member, it's very easy. There's applications in the seat back in front of you. There's some available on the back counter, or you can go onto our website and you can fill out an application for membership there as well. And then Sunday, April the 9th is Easter already. Can you believe that? I know. It's coming up quick. And we're going to celebrate our new members on Easter, and we're gonna have our potluck on that Easter Sunday, April the 9th. So come join us as we celebrate all things new with fun food and fellowship. Would you like to bring a salad or scalloped potatoes? Let us know. We love our food and fellowship around here, and we like to plan for it. So there is a sign-up sheet on the back counter, so you can let us know what you're planning on bringing. And we also encourage you to wear your finest Easter hat, bow tie, or what other finery you may have and celebrate with us. All right, and then one last thing, save the date. Our community fun fair is happening Sunday, June the 24th from 10 to 4. We will be having youth activities, barbecue, music, local vendors, presentations, and healing services. So make sure you mark your date now. Again, that is going to be June the 24th. Starting April the 1st, we will be moving away from using Banco, and we're going to start using the Square app. We do anticipate that this is going to be a smooth transition. And if you have any questions, I'm available, or Reverend Steve, to answer those for you. Our pledge drive does continue, and you guys are so amazing. That number is just climbing so quickly. It's wonderful. Thank you everyone who is pledging. Our goal is 80,000, and thanks to those continued pledges, we are now up to $55,127. In case you haven't noticed, we love learning and teaching around here. We're kind of a teaching center. It's what we do. And so we have a new class starting. Our wonderful, amazing Paula Peterson is going to be teaching the Essential Ernest Holmes. So are you curious about the philosophy and teaching of Ernest Holmes? Would you like to learn more about the evolution of science of mind? Ernest Holmes would not want you to hang on to his word. Instead, use his words as a foundation from which to build your own future, one belief at a time. The Essential Ernest Holmes is a 10-week class that will start Friday, April the 14th at 2 o'clock. And there is a sign-up sheet available on the back counter. And if you have any questions, you can talk with Paula about that. Our metaphysical book study group does continue. That starts at 9 a.m. right here in our conference room here in the main building. The book that they are studying right now is Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, and that is led by Reverend Steve. And then we have a meditation group that is going on each Sunday morning from 9:50 to 10:05 over in the LEC. This is led by our practitioners, and it's a time to just go into the silence and do a little meditation before we come over and get our spiritual vitamin over here. And I do believe that that is the conclusion of my announcement. So thank you, and I will invite Janice to come up now. Perfect, thank you.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Grants Path Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Janice Garibay, and I am your podium practitioner for today. Please join me in reading the gratitude. It's on the TVs. Boundaries and being healthy, and I appreciate the times when I protect myself in a loving, authentic way. And so it is. I'll just tell you a little bit about practitioners, what we are and what we're here for. Practitioners are the healing arm of our center. Our main job is to pray with and for you. To fill out a prayer request, just use the yellow form that's in the backs of your seats in front of you. Or if you are online, you can also submit a prayer request on our website at prayerspascsl.org. We are dedicated to your confidentiality and healing. We have taken several years of the Science of Mind classes to become licensed practitioners. We also teach classes and workshops here, right here at the center, and sometimes online. If you are in need of prayer, please connect with one of us and we'll do a short affirmative prayer with you after our service. Or you can contact one of us individually for a professional practitioner session. Our phone numbers are in the program and online. Whether you have an issue to resolve or you just want to experience more good in your life, we are here for you. Use us. Today, our table practitioner is Tracia Wiley. There she is, Tracia Wiley. And she is holding the high watch for us today and can direct you to a practitioner for prayer after the service. So today we'd like to thank the people that brought flowers. And we have this lovely, let's see, we have Barbara Scott, yes, the white and red ones. And then we have also Shirley. She brought the little daffodils. The decoration flowers that you see. So we have 3 people to thank. Such an abundance of goodness and beauty and color. It's very impressive and warm in here today. And I don't mean heat-wise, I mean rich. You know. So let's see, today, I'd like to ask right now, is anyone here for the first time? You could please raise your hand as we have a gift for you. That's beautiful. We have 3. There's 2 over here. Welcome. Keep your hand up.
Here we go, don't be shy. Yes. Welcome,
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I'd like a reminder now to you to please silence your cell phones. Thank you. Let's read the prayer together that's on the screen. Becoming familiar with and clarifying is a way for me to be true to myself. I know boundaries and build bridges and help others understand my needs. And so it is. Okay, please remain seated as we sing, I Am Love. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to pull out a reading and then we're going to do a short meditation and invocation. I picked a reading out of our Guide for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind from this month of March. And it's around the topic that Reverend Steve's going to be sharing a message with us on boundaries. And this is called Honoring Boundaries, and it's by Reverend Dr. Michael Gott. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Prentice Hemphill. You wish to use the laws of your being in such a way that they cannot bring evil to yourself or others. Therefore, you must be certain that your desire is toward more life for everyone, including yourself. That's from Ernest Holmes, This Thing Called You. How many times have you said yes when you would have been better served by saying no? It can be difficult to deny a request of our time and energy and resources. We have been trained to be kind and compassionate toward others. But what about ourselves? What about our own needs? If we ignore taking care of ourselves, then our giving can become obligatory or worse, filled with resentment. When I first began establishing boundaries, I felt awkward and guilty about it. I would offer long justifications of why I was saying no. At some point, someone said, "Michael, no is a complete sentence." Really? It was a hard concept for me, but I began to try. Eventually, rather than a long explanation, I could just say, "I'm not available then," or "ask me again at another time." And eventually, "No, thank you." A generous no is more loving than a resentful yes. And put yourself on your calendar. I practice a monthly reset day. Nothing else goes on my calendar for 24 hours. The point is, I get a whole day to spend in a way that feels nurturing and loving to myself without guilt. I lay in my sweatpants or read or order a meal delivery. And after a reset day, I'm always kinder and more generous to others. Be good to you. Honor yourself and know where your boundaries are. And then you can let others know as well. And so I affirm to choose loving actions toward myself today. I honor the original blessing and purity of my being, offering gentleness and kindness in my thoughts to myself and others. I emanate love to everyone. I radiate warmth to everyone. I welcome love, friendship, and harmony in my life. And this emanates through me and expresses outward. Take a moment now and just reflect, and I'll mind the time. Okay, gently move back into the room in this present moment. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my love with you. And now we're going to have some special music, followed by Reverend Steve's wonderful talk. Thank you.
Well, there's two kinds of boundaries. Ones we put on ourselves that we shouldn't, and ones that we don't set that we should. So we're going to try to sing songs about each one of those kinds. And this one at the end, I'll give you a spoiler alert, we're going to want you to sing along. And we always end our treatments by saying we put it out there into the law and know that it's already done. And so I had a lot of fun writing this song, and we'll sing it now. If you want to change your life, if you need a little peace, your own release. You've got everything it takes. And when you finally decide, when you can walk right through those prison gates and out into the light, when you realize that you are part of everything there is. And when you ask for what you really need, what you're gonna find is this, that it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright. It's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright. When you know you got the power, so there's no reason to wait. When you can start this hour living the life that you create. 'Cause when you step into the spirit, just like the beating of a drum, the whole universe will hear it. Oh, I know something good has begun. Just when you pray it from the heart and you hold it in your mind, let it go, gratefulness, soon you're gonna find that it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright, oh, it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright. Oh, now you're glad, sing with us, 'cause when you pray it from the heart, and you hold it in your mind, and you let it go with gratefulness, soon you're gonna find and it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright, yes, it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright, oh, it's already done, it's gonna be alright, and it's already here, it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be alright.
Let's hear it again for Chip and Bucky. Well, here we are, March 19th, 2023. And this day is a special day for me as far as the bass player goes. My bass teacher, Randy Rhodes, passed away on this date 41 years ago. So I have my little polka dot showing today in honor of my bass teacher. But once again, I want to really thank Bucky and Paula and Shirley and Chris and for decorating for our 45th anniversary.
And you too.
I too helped. Got a frog in my throat, but we're going to continue. So March theme is cultivating authenticity. Are you living an authentic life? Faker. We're all faking it. You know, we're all making it up as we go along. You know, I lost my instruction manual many years ago. It was tattooed on the bottom of my foot, but I could never see it. So boundaries build bridges. While physical boundaries can act as walls, when we communicate our boundaries instead of a wall, we are creating a clear path for others to connect with us, because boundaries build bridges. Having good, healthy boundaries is good. You know, they've said that a good neighbor is a good wall. But we have to have a fence or a gate in that wall to connect. It can't be like the Great Wall of China where it's just impenetrable. Sharing our boundaries builds bridges to authenticity and connection with others. You know, we need to deeply connect. To live out loud means for us to fully express who we truly are and who we have come here to be. Each one of us has come here to be something. How are you doing on that? We need to explore our practice of cultivating this authenticity, this authentic living. It empowers us to set up places in our lives that are just for ourselves. Because if we don't have a place to refuel, we've got nothing to give away. And cultivating authenticity is not about becoming something other than who we are, rather that it involves us in releasing those patterns of thought, attitudes and actions that act as a barrier. And to understand that it is part of our own truth and our personal growth. It's healthy to have boundaries. Have you ever been around someone who has unhealthy boundaries and they don't quite know when to stop talking about certain things? And then you hope they don't go there so that you don't have to say, that's on the down low. By taking up a spiritual practice, we begin to develop the courage to be vulnerable and to stand in our truth. Boundaries are where we end and the other begins. Nancy Levine, in her book, Setting Boundaries Will Set You Free, defines boundaries as a limit that you set to define what you will or will not do, or what you will or will not accept or tolerate from others. What are you willing to tolerate? What's your threshold of tolerating interesting people in your lives? And I have realized that if I can let certain energies go to voicemail, usually by the time I answer it, it's already cleaned itself up. Now, if you call me and it goes to voicemail, don't take it wrong. I usually let most things go to voicemail because I'm so busy doing something else, I don't really catch it. So if we desire to express ourselves authentically, then it is up to us to become familiar with and clarify these boundaries for others and ourselves. And sometimes that can be tough. You know, when you say, you know, I really don't want to go there, but other people do, they may feel like you're being insensitive. Boundaries are the container in which our authentic self resides. Having clarity about these boundaries empowers us to know what is ours to be and do in the world. And until we communicate our boundaries and hold others accountable to them, we cannot expect others to honor them. We may not feel comfortable sharing our boundaries because of the beliefs that we have. It may feel selfish. But I say, if you're not selfish, then you don't have good boundaries with yourself. You need to be selfish. You need to give to yourself first. Tithe to yourself first. Love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself, you have nothing to give away. You may feel unspiritual, but it's exactly the opposite. It is so spiritual to know who you are. My mic is dropping. Who you are and why you are what you are. But see, it's our responsibility to establish and maintain these healthy boundaries. Letting other people know of our boundaries keeps us from becoming doormats and eventually being stepped on. Boundaries create bridges by giving others a path to connect with us that's healthy and that works. It also prevents others from stepping on landmines that they don't even know were there. We all have some landmines laying around, and sometimes we don't even know they're there until we trip them ourselves. Or somebody says something that pushes your button. And you go, you know, you're always pushing my button. Well, they may be pushing your button, but who implanted the button in the first place? Just saying. Sharing our boundaries invites us to get to know each other better at a deeper level. See, the purpose of life, here it is to express yourself. As spiritual beings, we are individualizations of source energy, Christ consciousness, the divine. And our unique intentions, desires, and boundaries. There are different areas in which we all have boundaries: physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and material boundaries. Maybe time to take a look at those. Do they need to be adjusted or just reinforced a little bit? When we live as if we lack boundaries, we unconsciously tell others that there is nothing of ours that we hold sacred. We can feel that we exist for their use and all is for the taking. And of course, we would stop someone from trying to do us harm to our bodies or taking something from us that did not belong to them. Yet, when we do not let people know what our limits are, we set ourselves up for a whole set of emotions, including resentment, betrayal, and anger. It's been said that expectations are premeditated disappointments. Think about that. Expectations are premeditated disappointments because everyone will eventually fall short of your expectations, because our expectations are very high of others and very low of ourselves, when it should be the other way around. Fear sometimes comes from this sense of unworthiness, that somehow we don't deserve the space that we require. To live out loud invites us to share our relevant boundaries out loud. These are part of the authentic expression of life and who we are. We're not just creating boundaries where there are none, they already exist. We just have to enforce them by communicating them. I'm going to use the other mic because mine is cutting out on me. I'll just grab this. There we go. Check 1, 2. There we are. My 3 talking points for today. We don't have to make up our boundaries. We need to uncover them. Of course, my nose wants to run, so I need an extra hand up here to So boundaries do build bridges, but we need to communicate our boundaries. Others cannot read our minds, and it's an assumption that everyone knows this about me. That does not absolve us from our responsibility to communicate them. Have you ever heard it said, if you loved me, you would know what I want? You ever heard that? Or maybe said it yourself? If you loved me, you'd know what I want. And my response to that is, if you loved me, you wouldn't expect me to read your mind. Right? Let's be real. Well, you know, we've known each other long enough that you should just know that that's bothersome to me. Well, I have a very short memory span. Having healthy boundaries gives us the opportunity to practice courage and to be vulnerable. It's an authentic expression because we're sharing who we are rather than who we are not. See, what you are not should never be part of the equation. What you are not is your growing edge. and you're working on it. We don't have to point it out and bring it up and make t-shirts out of it and have tattoos. Some of us do. Boundaries give others a path to connect with us. We have boundaries around our physical and our mental and our emotional bodies. We also have boundaries around our time and energy and material items. It never feels good when our limits are crossed without our consent. But if people don't know it, they may inadvertently step over a line. And when you don't feel good, it can help you to discover your boundaries that you may not have known about. We're always reestablishing or discovering new boundaries. And sometimes our boundaries change. Sometimes we get okay with certain things. And sometimes new things come up that we are just not okay with. And that's okay. Maybe you want to sit down with a practitioner or a minister or a therapist or a counselor or someone that you can talk to about maybe some unspoken boundaries. Because when you have someone to bounce stuff off of, we tend to get more familiar with ourselves. Know thyself. That's what it's about. Number 2, practice courage and communicate. Don't expect others to read your mind. Communicating our boundaries may feel difficult and scary, but like any skill, it will get easier with time. Avoidance may feel easier, but there are consequences once boundaries have been crossed. There is a natural reaction to push back when our boundaries have been breached, bringing with it many other emotions. Don't push on boundaries, honor them. If we don't understand someone's boundaries, talk to them about it. Deciding to be brave and ask for what you need may not get us the result we hope for, but it is necessary for our own self-discovery. This being a new or constant conversation may feel to them like you're putting limits on the relationship. But these boundaries were always there, but you didn't know it until they crossed it. And boom. Let's talk about a boundary. If expressing your authentic self with someone is a problem for them, it may be time to evaluate your boundary around how willing you are to tolerate certain people who do not respect your boundaries. So an example would be not feeling guilty if a friend asked us for change and we did not have any cash on us. We should not feel guilty for saying no. To give what you do not have to give robs yourself and creates resentment. You know, we wouldn't go to a bank. This is one of my dad's favorite things. You wouldn't go to a bank demanding 50-cent pieces if they didn't have them. You stood in line, you got to the teller, and I want change. I want 50 cents. Yeah, we don't have them here. You need to go to a different bank. And he used this analogy in certain relationships I had, and I was asking people for energy that they didn't possess. They couldn't give me the love that I wanted because they didn't have it themselves. And it shouldn't come from outside of yourself. What a tough one that is. He called it barking up the wrong tree. You ever seen a dog bark up the wrong tree? It's like, no, the rabbit's up there. This happens though. And what do we do when we find out that we've been barking up the wrong tree? We buy a book, we go to a workshop, we go to therapy. And this is what it takes us to find out that the rabbit is up a different tree. But whatever it takes, I'm not saying these are bad or wrong. These are actually very healthy things to do because it brings you to a new self-discovery. Number 3, no. No is a complete sentence. No. N-O. Have a nice day. Knowing our value and limits empowers us to live in alignment with them. It helps us to say yes to our yeses and no's to our no's. And as we live out loud in the world, it's up to us to honor our boundaries by clarifying them with others. One way is to say no. Not no. See the difference? You're just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, can't help you. It is our right to say no. A no creates a whole new boundary, a healthy boundary. And it opens up more yeses in other places where you feel comfortable. I love what Dr. Michael Gott said about taking a day for yourself and staying in your sweats and having meals delivered. Oh man, that sounds so good, right? But we need to do that for ourselves and for each other, don't we? Put your phone away, put it on the charger, put it on silent, turn on the TV or the stereo, and just relax. No is a complete sentence that doesn't require an explanation. When we say yes, when we mean no, or we compromise our comfort in order to please someone else, or give in to something else that we don't want, it is our authentic self that is disrespected. We need to stand up for ourselves because I have an agreement with myself that I will. And if I don't, I'm gonna have a chat with myself later and be very upset with myself. And in some situations, we're the ones that are crossing our own boundaries. We need to stand up straight and act like it's another person. If it was another person, you'd stand up for them. Well, pretend you're another person. Stand up for yourself. Honoring our own boundaries is an act of self-love that cultivates our authenticity. When we say no to one thing, we say yes to something else. By clarifying our limits, we are making space for ourselves to live out loud. So in conclusion, we teach others how to be with us. How will others know how to treat us if we don't let them know? Don't expect people to read your mind. If we are waiting to see if people will respect our unspoken boundaries that we believe they should have known all along, you should just know that about me. Well, I don't, or I forgot. Help me to know you better. And expectations are premeditated disappointments. Doesn't mean we don't expect something, but when it doesn't happen, it just means that there's another way. Having an expectation is good, it's okay, but when it doesn't happen, don't hold the other person in contempt because they said no, because they're honoring something else that you may not even know about. It's okay. A no means there's a yes somewhere else. If someone has written you a pink slip, write yourself a green slip somewhere else. Because who's in control of you? You. Once we know our boundaries, it is an act of love to share with ourselves. It invites us to understand ourselves better. And it communicates with the heart of our hearts that we love ourselves. If boundaries do get crossed, we can then have a heart-to-heart conversation for reconciliation. If we remain quiet when a boundary has been crossed and it matters to us, our hearts will remain separate. We'll feel bad while we inwardly judge and resent others. This cuts us off from feeling compassion. Authentically, we need to practice this self-awareness. We can start right now where we are today by forgiving ourselves and others for being perfectly imperfect and begin again and do a soft restart. Loving ourselves and others to be brave and clarifying, this is what I will or will not do. This is what I will or will not tolerate. And that builds a bridge of connection because boundaries build bridges.
So it is.
It's the tie, yeah. I haven't worn a tie in several weeks because I'm going more casual these days. Well, it's time for our healing prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Take a soft focus on the beautiful flowers or the candles. And let's remember who we are and go deeper now. I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the power of creation is to you. That energy that grows the grass, leaves the trees, that causes the rain, and causes the rain to be evaporated back into itself. That each one of us is part of that magnificent cycle of life, always popping into existence and then disappearing. Each one of us gifted with the miraculous energy of consciousness. And we activate that consciousness right here and right now by our attention, our awareness, and our love. I may not know what you're walking through today, but I know God does. And as we begin to experience the healing, something powerful is activated. Your body sending all the right cells to all the right places for the perfect healing. Your life making all the right connections with all the right energies for the perfect healing, for abundance, for clarity, for good, healthy boundaries. This is good. For as we stand up in who and what we have come here to be, a miraculous energy of love is now being activated. Activated in a way that causes that healing to easily and effortlessly happen as who and what we are. So we give great thanks for this healing. We claim it and we anchor it in as our life right here and right now. And we let go. Grateful for the conscious awareness of healing. We release this word directly into the living, loving law of mind, where God becomes God in our life. And for this, we are so well pleased as we affirm it together by saying, Amen. Well, it's time for our offertory. So let's just take our gifts and put them on our heart, and we'll recite our prosperity sharing affirmation together, which says, in divine circulation and generosity, I gladly and freely give my gift to the center, and so it is. Amen. Sure.
Well, we always, or oftentimes, many times we sing about peace on earth, our peace song. And we always say, yes, peace begins with me. And I think if you don't have peace, you only have peace in me. I'll say if you're authentic, you can't really be at peace if you're not authentic. And this is a song about that. And the other side of boundaries. And I'd like to thank Mr. Kenny Loggins for writing it. Well, ain't no someone who isn't kind. A friend indeed is a friend who will help you through the troubled times. So reach on out, take a hold of my hand. Tell me when you're ready to fly. And you can choose to leave those blues behind and have a little peace of mind. You need a little peace of mind. Now there'll be times when people go blind and the words become disease. They try to run your life like a blade of the knife and cut you down to your knees. But make no mistake, for your very own sake, here's a little piece of advice. Tune out that noise and let your love choose life. And have a little peace of mind. Oh, you need some peace of mind. Some folks you find have a pretty good line, charm you all the way. They'll take you along with a sweet, sweet song until they steal your soul away. Oh, blessed be those who can understand why some people have to act that way. 'Cause if I knew, I wouldn't even want to say. Little peace of mind. Oh, just looking for peace of mind. Oh, we all need peace of mind. Yes, everyone, peace of mind. Now sing it with us. Everybody needs some peace of mind. We all need peace of mind. Peace of mind. Oh, we all need peace of mind.
Here for Chip and Bucky once more. It's time for our prayer for our offertory. So, giving great thanks because it is from pure love that these tithes and gifts have been collected. They're evidence of our faith, our belief, and our ability to manifest in this world of form. They do miraculous work in this world and allow this center to thrive, allowing it to be open and available to those who are choosing to remember who they are, and even those who may not know it yet. And for that, this community is blessed in a beautiful, magnificent way, and all thrive because of it. And so it is. Amen. Well, we are going to have our final song from Chip and Bucky, and then we're gonna do our benediction, but we're gonna roll right into our celebration. So stay here, don't run off, because we're gonna just go right into it. So let's go ahead and do our song.
We're actually gonna have our final song from you, and that's why we put the words up there. The words were originally written in a poem by Woody Guthrie, and many years later, Arlo put them to music.
We've sung it before, so why don't you stand up? Sway back and forth to the music, your body feels like that. My peace,
My peace, that's all I've got, and I can give to you. My peace is all I've ever had, that's all I ever knew. I give my peace to green and black, and red and white and blue. My peace is all I've got, that I can give to you. My peace is all I've got, it's all I've ever known. My peace is worth 1,000 more than anything I own. I pass my peace around and about, cross hands of every hue. I guess my peace is just about all I've got to give to you.
So our benediction, as you know, is please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now.
Something wonderful is happening right now.
It's happening in my mind,
It's happening in my mind,
in my body,
in my body,
and in the body of my
and
affairs.
in the body of my affairs.
I think it,
I think it,
I feel it,
I feel it,
and I know it.
I know it.
Just the way that it is.
Just the way it is.
Just the way that it is not.
Just the way it is.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Now, I would like to invite up Jamaica Wallace, our board president practitioner, who's going to do an invocation. Please have your seats. And she will be doing our invocation for our 45th year celebration ceremony. So please. Jamaica.
Maybe 5 years. This is such an honor and a privilege just to get to be up here and do this. Let's just take a moment, and I do invite you to go ahead and close your eyes or find something to gaze at, the flowers or the candles if that's more comfortable. And let's just take this moment, this beautiful service, and take a few deep breaths in and out, allowing that beautiful breath to bring us inward into that place of oneness. And I invite you now to invite in that feeling of gratitude, bringing that gratitude deep into our hearts. Because I know there is not a spot where God is not. And that Spirit is divinely individualized right here and right now through each and every one of us. And I know that this beautiful, sacred home that is the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living, our building, our grounds, our learning center, from the trees to the flowers, every inch of this is a divine manifestation of God's desire for good works in this beautiful, beautiful time, this place, in this space. And that each of us here now are divine manifestations of our ancestors who have walked these grounds before us. We are manifestations of their beautiful prayers. And for this, I know we are all so very blessed. I know this time together is sacred, special, and blessed. And I just take this beautiful gratitude, I take these words and this love, and I place it directly into the living, loving love that is always open, saying yes and manifesting exactly what is placed there. And it's with that love and gratitude I fully release these words, letting it go, knowing it is done, and we can affirm this together by saying it. So it is.
So it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamaica. So I'm going to start with a news clipping article from this little paper called The Courier. This is from February 23rd, 2007. It says, United Community Church is honoring its founding members. Ta-da! To commemorate the history of the United Community Church, celebration will be held Sunday, February 25th after service, with a potluck, music, and an honoring of the remaining founding members. This will be a do not miss event. You see, in January 1973, a young minister of religious science arrived in Grants Pass with a small capital and a burning desire to found a religious science center in the area. January 1973. Do the math. How many years is that? 50. So this is actually our 50th year, but 45 in this building. He made a few contacts, and in February 1973, Reverend Joe Cullen held his first meeting at the community center. There were about 7 people in attendance. The next meeting was held in the kitchen area of the Fruitdale Grange, and the group began to grow. In December 1974, Reverend Joe announced that he had to return to Los Angeles for pressing personal reasons. But in the congregation was Don Kelton, who was here visiting friends, Ken and Edie DeVos. Don Kelton was not yet a licensed minister, but with permission from headquarters, she came on as minister when Joe left. Sunday service then moved to the Barnstormers Little Theater. Sadly, Reverend Don on July 11, 1976, also had to return to Los Angeles. I see a theme there. On September 1st, 1976, Reverend Dorothy Quigley came highly recommended. Helen Knapp, founding member, had in 1976 built the Knapp building on F Street to house their Shakely product business. It contained a large meeting room where church services could be held. Sunday school classes began and accredited Science of Mind classes were started. In August 1977, the congregation's prayers had been answered with the purchasing of their very own church. The location was 466 Southwest I Street, corner of Pine and I. In the process of cleaning up their new purchase, they found newspapers in the wall that were used as insulation. The newspapers found gave the building a 1904 date of building. Wow. Building 1904. Former owners of the building were the Free Methodist Church and later the Rogue Valley Bible Church. The church charter was granted March 18th, 1978, and formally presented April 2nd, 1978 by Dr. Edith Clark, Director of the Department of Member Churches. You know, a church is not its building. It's not its land. It's not even what its denomination is. It is its people. It is the lives of those people and their hopes and their dreams. And the people who come each and every day to experience the sensation of community. Is this your first time here? Raise your first. You guys rock. coming on the first day. You guys were attracted by an energy that you could not resist, and you found yourself here. Now you know what we've been experiencing for the last forever. See, we are one, and this church, this center, this community is because of your desire to know yourself. That's why this entire thing exists. I could rattle off all the names of all the people who went into making this thing happen. And inevitably, I would miss somebody. Because there are people who have come in, we have not gotten to know them, they've had a healing, and they left. And they took this energy back out into the world with them. See, there is no way to count how many people have been affected by this center. It's just like how many seeds are in an apple. How many apples are in a seed? Countless. All the money, all the talent, all the treasure, all the challenges, all the misunderstandings, all the hurt and the pain and the board meetings and the music and the fundraisers and everything that went into holding this thing together over the years. You know, every church goes through a painful growing experience where they don't know how they're going to pay next month's bills. But somehow somebody comes through, something happens, and a miracle is demonstrated. Healing happens here. Answered prayers happen here. It's happening right now. In this moment, someone's having a healing. Because we're here, holding this thing together, keeping the roof on, mowing the lawn, planting flowers. If you are here or seeing this on Zoom, you are part of this energy. You are part of the healing that's happening right now. All the birthdays and the celebrations of life and the holidays and the triumphs and the challenges have happened right here. And you are right here as part of it. See, if we didn't have people show up and put the roof on and buy a new air conditioner and cut the lawn, just think what the lawn would look like. But we have talented people that come forward and say, I can do that. I have some time. I'm going to stop by on my way home from cutting other people's lawns and cut yours. Because you see, it's not about anyone in particular. It's about what we're trying to achieve as an energy together in love. That's why we're here, because we love community. If we didn't, we'd stay home Sunday morning and watch football. That's your thing. Or whatever you watch on Sunday morning. See, it's all about love. Love is what we represent. And if you come back, you're going to experience love. Because just walking through these doors, just pulling up out front, I drove by here before I ever came in here, and I could feel that there's something going on here I wanted to be part of. Thousands of people have come through these doors in the last 45 years. And many more thousands have been touched by this teaching, and countless others will be transformed by this teaching because you're here holding this thing together right now. You're a part of something so big that you can't conceive of it. You are a cell in the body of God. There's no way to calculate how many lives have been touched and affected by this center or will be. It's a Google number because it exponentially, they told 2 friends and so on and so on. We are all moving through history, but this place is history. It is a portal to higher consciousness, a portal to expanding consciousness, and a place where lives are transformed by the renewing of our minds. I'm but one minister in a long line of ministers. There will be many more after me, as long as we keep painting the place and putting new carpet in and doing the dishes, even if the dishwasher's not quite acting up to par. Many have preceded me and many more will follow, but right now, I'm what's here and you're what's here. And together, we make up the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome home. We've been expecting you. Thank you for not disappointing us. So let's promote this teaching, Science of Mind. We need to remove any personality out of the equation and move to principle, because long after I'm gone, this teaching will survive. This teaching will only get better and better, because that's what it does. So I am only here as a reminder, a guidepost to direct you back to yourself. We are part of something bigger than we can even conceive. We are, each one of us, part of something so grand, so incredible that we can't imagine what good we're doing. But let's keep doing it by coming every Sunday, every event, every class, every moment spent together in consciousness is spent in the betterment of humanity. And that's why you came here. You're fulfilling your contract just by showing up. Here you thought you had to do some cartwheel on the lawn or something. No, you just have to walk through the door and sit down and have an experience, and you're doing it. It is a step towards our ultimate experience in remembering who we truly are, God in form. That's why we're here. So, in the energy of forward movement, I bless this center and all its ever-expanding congregation and community. Something wonderful is happening by means of each one of us, individually and collectively, as we are truly one. And so it is. So I would like at this point to invite up one of our longtime members who's going to speak to us about her experience for just a few minutes. I'm going to give her some leeway. Nancy Donnelly.
And he promised that he would be a timekeeper because he knows that I don't understand time. And that's welcomed. I'm so proud to say that I'm one of the founding members of the center. And as a lot of the stuff I was going to say, he said. So I should be able to finish in 5 minutes or 10. Or forever. We applied for a church charter and it was granted on March 18th, 1978. And this is what, March 19th? So we are right on target. I served as president of the board, I don't know, 5, 6 times, sometimes a couple of terms at a time, depending on where the ebb and flow was, and there's always ebb and flow. Sometimes we're awakened. It seems as though kind of a sleepiness happens and things kind of quieten down, and so does the financial part. And it takes, with any home, and this is our home, it takes funds, it takes money, it takes work, it takes love. Love is the foundation, but the realities are the lights and the heat and the building. And that's all part of love. So I just took one example. One of the times of my being president was 1990-ish. We have 80 members and our annual budget projection was $70,730 or $1,360 a week. We projected to be about $5,000 short of that goal. So as members of this church family, we became energized instead of, oh my goodness. It was revitalizing, it was re-energizing, it was, okay, what are we gonna do? What can we do? So creativity is an amazing thing. And creativity and cohesiveness became the process. We seriously reached out to the community. That was our momentum gathering. To let the community know we're here, we have so much to offer. Walk in the door and you'll feel love. You'll know love, you'll be love. So we started buying ads and placing articles in the Courier very actively, putting something out there in the way of here we are, this is what we're doing, and we're going to be doing even more. So I and Pine became a very familiar address. I mean, some folks wouldn't even know the name of what it was, but I and Pine, that really could have been our name. Because people knew where we were. We had pie contests, we had Mother's Day brunches on Saturday, very popular. We had workshops. Much of this, all of this is ongoing, but what that does is re-energize instead of become frustrated or aggravated. You just go to work and say, okay, let's open the doors, let's open our minds, let's let the love out and bring the love in. And my timekeeper's leaving, that's not a good sign. So everyone was invited to use their talent, and we all have talent. Every time, if we're breathing, we have talent. And so all of those many talents were brought together to create miracles. I'm absolutely sure we're now, again, still in fundraising activity. That's a part of the process. And it's a part of the process that can really provide us with the opportunity to reach out and bring in and keep the cycle of love going. So I think that it's a blessing. It has historically been a blessing when we've had to look at the numbers and we've had to say, oh, if we want to keep our home warm and welcoming, we have to become creative and we have to open our hearts and the doors and say, join us, come in. This is where we are, this is what we do, and we're looking for friends. So I think fundraising is an opportunity to raise our mind, to reach our hearts, and to share. So I think it sparks the fire that is within each one of us to love more, to reach out to others, to share our talents and grow our talents. and be what we are all meant to be. We are one. Bless you all, and my timekeeper says, I'm through now. I was almost through.
And there's a book.
This was our Catalyst newsletter, and you can see it's very full.
Okay.
And our office was open from 10 to 4 every day. Not every day, Monday through Thursday. So, and that was a great,
And now we're open by appointment.
Yeah, right.
and yes, my time is really up.
Let's hear it from Nancy Holland. I want to thank you all for sticking with us. We have the iMovie that we're going to show in just a minute. I just want to do a quick prayer out, and then we'll show the iMovie. And once the iMovie's over, we're going to continue to show the iMovie. So if you don't see it all the first time, because there's so much to see. It's about 11 minutes, but there's so many pictures. Deciding what pictures, and I want to thank Chris Strong, who's actually in that room now, queuing up the iMovie to be played on Zoom, because we can't play it in the same room where we play it here because of the technical. But when you see Chris Strong, thank her for her time. She spent a lot of time gathering the photos, putting them to music, and then re-editing it like 5 times to get it just right. If you've ever done this type of work, it's monotonous to fit with the music. But I'm gonna go back and start the player and settle in for just an 11-minute. I'm just gonna say a quick prayer for our center in closing. So as we bring ourselves to this moment, how grateful that we are to hold the energy of divine love. I bless everyone who has ever been part of this center, or whoever will be part of this center. We are so blessed, and we take full advantage of that blessing by sending it out into the world in the only way that we know how, and that's by our love. Miraculous blessings are happening right here and right now. So we move forward, continuing to be provided so we can provide for this center. And this blesses the giver and receiver. How good it is to be here now. And so it is.
So it is.